Pay attention to the tips and methods for welding thin plates with argon arc. Many may think a low current is enough for thin materials. But do you know? If the current is too low, welding can be more difficult. Friends new to thin metal welding may have felt this. This video briefly introduces solutions. When welding thin metal, there are factors more important than welding technique or current control. It's crucial to have good welding conditions. First, ensure there are no gaps at the joint between thin metals. Weld thin plates together. Connecting the tubes, the thin tube. The boss is welding the thin tube. It's always like this. Here's how to weld these types. You can succeed if you remove the gaps between the metals. You've already succeeded halfway. Regarding plate welding, if there are gaps, even pros find it hard to weld. What's important here is, when cutting materials, try to avoid gaps during fitting. Next is control of the welding current. For friends with much precision welding experience, low current welding is also possible. But for those unfamiliar with precision welding, low current welding isn't easy. In such cases, using high current spot welding can be easier. Set the welder to 2T mode. Adjust the current to 150. Set it to 2T mode to weld only when the button is pressed. This mode is mainly for spot welding. Try welding using this method. There is also this welding method. And another method. It's hard to control the welding time evenly by hand. Time. If the welding time can be shorter than manual timing, heat input will be lower. Then, point time settings can be made. Welding will be easier. Set the spot welding time like this. Even if you press the start button, it can only weld for a set time and then stop. It will stop after about 0.05 seconds of welding. This method of reducing heat input is called cold welding. If you're familiar with this method, there's another method that allows automatic repetitive welding. It's similar to the concept of pulse welding, but it's slightly different. Spot welding involves automatic repetition. If you get used to this method, you can speed up the welding process. Reducing delay will speed up welding. When the delay between welds is reduced, this allows for high-speed spot welding. Using this in batch welding of the same part, it can greatly improve work efficiency. Of course, not all welders have these features. Many TIG welders lack this feature. But I believe it's worth knowing. Regardless, it's still necessary to understand. This video explains the basics of welding thin sheets. In some cases, you may need to use rods for welding. Sometimes there are gaps between thin metals. Like this situation. Or this one. Or another one. Future videos will address solutions for these cases. As the saying goes, welding methods aren't always the right answer. It's one method that can be used here. Hope this helps. That's all for this video. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, follow us, save it. Thanks for watching.